Hi everyone, it's Jay West with Directions. Good to have you here on the show this morning, and I hope you enjoy it. Directions is all about transitions and how we handle them. And my special guest today is Viv Ewing. Hi, Viv.
Hi, Jay. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm so happy to be here today.
So if you don't know what Viv Ewing is, presently, what would you call the First Lady of
First Lady
Omaha?
of Omaha,
Yeah, the wife of the mayor.
wife of the mayor, yes.
And
It's an honor.
yes, and I've known your husband now for 13, 14, 15 years, somewhere in there. I remember I was at an event at Trinity Church at the time, and I saw him walking around. I go, I need to meet that man. So ultimately did, and we became friends. So I want to back up a little bit because I don't know anything about your history.
Okay.
I know John is from here. Are you from Omaha?
I am, Jay. I'm from Omaha, and I've been here my entire life. And early on in my career, I had an opportunity to relocate to Atlanta, but chose to stay here in Omaha. And I'm really glad that I did. I went to Central High School.
Okay.
And I went to University of Nebraska at Omaha for both my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and then I went to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln for my PhD.
I knew you had a doctorate because my wife's going to start her doctorate next summer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and PhD also. So anyway, yeah, I should have introduced you as Dr. Ewing. I'm sorry, I messed up on that.
Okay. I won't hold it against you.
Yeah. So, how did you meet John?
Oh, it's a funny story. We were both poor, broke college students at UNO. And we had classes together. We were friends for a couple of years. We were in some of the same clubs. And we would, as a group, go out to movies together on Friday. We'd save our money up, our allowance from our folks or whatever part-time job we had, and we'd have just enough money to go to the movies and maybe go out to eat dinner. And so we would do this every weekend. And one weekend we were at school and he said, hey, why don't you and I go to the movies together? And I said, okay, I'll get the gang and we'll all go. And he was like, no, not the gang, just you and I. And I was like, oh, okay, then you and I will go to the movies. And so we've been married for 41 years. And I think we were in a relationship for probably 2 years before we got married. So.
Congratulations, 41 years, it's a long time. Do you remember what movie you saw?
I do not remember the movie,
That's
but I
okay.
do remember us being in college together. We had classes at the same time. And in one of the classes, we had Dr. Phil Secret as our professor. And he would ask a question. And so John and I and another student would always race to get our hands in the air first to get the answer right. And we would bet Snickers candy bars on who would get the most correct answers.
Really? You
Yeah.
guys still like Snickers?
We do.
I have to remember that. I'm going to take him a Snickers because like I told you, coincidentally, I have a meeting with him tomorrow. If I remember, I'm going to take him a Snickers
Snickers
bar.
or hot tamales
Okay, great.
or Skittles.
So
But
you,
yeah,
so you started dating, you got married. Where'd you get married?
we got married at Morning Star Baptist Church in
Okay.
Omaha. And we had about 600 people there. It was a lot of fun. And people seem to follow us wherever we go, wherever we have an event. We get
So what was
picked up.
John's major in college?
I think his major was criminal justice and business.
Okay, but he ended up going to the police force at some point?
He did. He joined the Omaha Police Department and was there for almost 25 years and retired as deputy police chief.
So what was that transition for you early on? Were you concerned about him becoming a police officer? Were you bothered by it? Or were you like
Actually,
excited?
I was excited for him to have a great job, a great career that he was starting. But I wasn't nervous about it because I knew he had a level head on his shoulders, and I also knew he had the Lord with him. And so, and I have a high degree of discernment. And so if I sensed that he was in danger, I would immediately start praying about whatever I thought was happening. And then he'd come home and say, this happened or that happened. And I'm like, yep, I was already praying about it. But I really wasn't worried about him as a police officer because I knew he was going to make the right decisions for both the police department and the citizens involved, because he always would treat people with dignity and respect, which is what he's maintained throughout his whole career.
I'm asking in part because I knew that a little bit of that history, but my nephew is actually Rebecca's nephew, but my nephew is in the academy right now here in Omaha. So we're excited about that too, and seeing that progress and how that happens and so on.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
that's exciting.
So he's in the police force, and what are you doing while he's in the police force?
Well, at that time, I was working full-time in different corporate positions. I was working at ConAgra as a director there for almost 10 years. I worked at OPPD as a supervisor there for close to 10 years as well. So I was always working, and we had two daughters at home, and he would try to arrange his schedule so he could be home with the daughters as well.
And again, I don't know a lot about you, okay? I've known you, but I've never really spent time, inquiring about your past and everything else. So you got involved in the Kroc Center, and how did that initiate?
I actually started with the Kroc Center as a volunteer. The majors that were in charge of the project at the time knew I was involved with the community and had a lot of community connections, and they did not have those connections, and they had asked me to work with them on establishing partnerships throughout the community. And so I would go into the businesses and organizations to talk about the upcoming Kroc Center and getting agreements early on that they would patronize and do business at the Kroc Center. And it worked out really well. I ended up signing up over 100 businesses and organizations agreeing to be a part of that. And so that information went into a packet that was submitted for approval for the Kroc Center. And so the final document was probably like 500 pages long, but that was one component of it. And so it was really a joy to be a part of that. I knew this would be something monumental for Omaha, monumental for South Omaha in particular. And then after the project was approved and the Salvation Army was awarded the money, then the process began to start constructing the building. And then I ended up coming on board as an employee, as a director, to help lay some groundwork around staffing and policies and all of those kinds of things, helping to build that internal infrastructure for what was going to be a beautiful facility.
So for our listeners and viewers that don't live here in Omaha that watch, describe what the Kroc Center is.
The Kroc Center is a multi-purpose center in the community that individuals can come to for recreation. There's a church there called the Core. The Salvation Army always has a church in all their facilities. There's also programming for youth and for families of all ages, and so everyone is welcome at the Kroc Center.
How big is it? I mean, I know there's outside, inside.
There's an outside component and there's an inside component, and I believe it's about 30,000 square feet. I could be off on my math, but it's a ginormous facility, and think of it as a recreation center plus more.
Okay. So you've done the Kroc Center. What are some other projects you've done in Omaha?
I've done several, Jay. One of the projects I worked on when I was president of the Alzheimer's Association was spearheading an effort to get an Alzheimer's state plan passed for Nebraska. At that time, all the states in the United States had an Alzheimer's plan except for 5 states. Nebraska was one of the 5 at the time.
Really?
And so I worked with several state senators, some community organizations to really rally around the need to have a state plan. Went to Lincoln multiple times, meeting with legislators to get them to understand that Alzheimer's is a very urgent need in our community. It was then and it is now. And at that time, there were probably 80,000 caregivers who are caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease. And that number is steadily growing. The cases of Alzheimer's were also growing. And so that plan was passed within 12 months. So I'm really proud of that legacy that is not only for the Omaha area, but the entire state of Nebraska.
Wow. So you've done while your husband's doing his thing, police, and then political and different things, you are simultaneously having great influence in our city too. So
Oh, absolutely.
how do you two keep up with each other, what you're
Some
doing?
of the things that we do together. And so that's one of the things that we do is make sure that we are out in the community at the same time, at the same events when we can. That's not always possible because he has a busy, full schedule. I have a busy, full schedule as well. I serve on a number of boards, and that keeps me busy as well.
Mm-hmm. Can you share a couple of the boards you're on?
Yeah, I am on the Salvation Army board. I just finished my term as president of the board a few months ago. I'm on the University of Nebraska at Omaha Alumni Board. I just finished my term as president with that board. earlier this year. Those are just two. I'm also on the National Council of Negro Women Board and have several others that I maintain involvement with as well. I served on Sienna Francis House Board, Opera Omaha Board, College of St. Mary Board. So I try to be involved in the community, making a lifetime difference wherever I can, because I think that's important.
So when John's in the police force, and I know he gets to a point, was it deputy chief was his highest rank?
Yes.
Is that like the assistant to the top guy?
Correct.
Okay. So he gets to that point, he retires. Were you thinking about retiring too?
Oh, heck no.
Okay.
No, I was not planning to retire when he became deputy chief or when he retired from deputy chief. And actually, he had retired after he was elected to Douglas County Treasurer, which he was there for about 19 years.
Mm-hmm. And in between, I know he tried to do some other things too. And it seemed like he told me at one time he was thinking about retiring, moving to another state maybe.
Yeah, early on that was a consideration. Since then, obviously, he's changed his mind about that and has had quite a illustrious career here in Omaha and made significant impact, not just in Omaha, but across the state. When you look at the changes that he brought to the Douglas County Treasurer's Office, but also treasurer's offices in every county of Nebraska.
Yeah, he did great work in the Treasurer's Department.
He did.
Inroads and technology, all sorts of things that even, you know, I remember our church did a thing for him in his office downtown for Super Bowl, I think. We took food and everything else. And I interviewed some of the employees and asked them, you know, just tell me what you really like or don't like. And they always say, well, we love John Ewing and he, you know, employee of the month and special gatherings and parties. And not that it was all fun and games, but he made the workplace enjoyable.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
somebody you want to go to rather than just a job.
Yeah, and that's very intentional because not only did he care about the staff and their families, but I care as well.
Right.
And so if they had a significant life event happen, we would go to that life event together, whether it's a retirement, a funeral, or a new baby that was being blessed at a church or someone that was in the hospital who needed prayer. So we would make a conscious effort to make time to spend time with those employees because we felt like they were our family too.
Right.
And not only that, even in his role as mayor in the city of Omaha, employees that he works with, we appreciate them. We're going to be having a staff appreciation in just a couple of weeks to show our appreciation to his staff, but also to the staff families and significant others.
So you mentioned before about discernment, okay? And not all of John's career was rosy. He ran for Congress and did not win. How did you handle that for him? And what was your response to each other? Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely.
Because a loss is different than a win. So, you know.
Right. So in man's eyes, it was a loss. However, we knew from a spiritual standpoint that God had a plan and he was elevating John. And what that did in terms of being in that race and not winning, it increased his stature across the state. It increased his stature in the Omaha and surrounding communities. And it also increased his stature countrywide. And so actually there was a win. It just wasn't the way most people view a win in terms of winning a race. But he won in so many other ways, name recognition, favorability, likability. And those things have propelled him forward in his career and led him to where he is today. And so my role in that, one, was to pray, and two, was to seek the Lord and say, okay, Lord, what are you doing here? Help us to see what your plan is, because I knew that the Lord had a greater plan in store for both John and myself. And so we looked at that opportunity and said, okay, there's something bigger happening here. And we're thankful for the way it turned out.
So you've mentioned the Lord several times. Did you grow up as a believer? Did John grow up as a believer?
Oh, yes. We both grew in households of faith where we were both involved in church. Our families went to church on a regular basis, and we still maintain that even today.
Are you, at one point you were at Salem Baptist. Are you still there?
We're still at Salem. We're both ministers at Salem.
What's that like to go to church there? I mean, do you get hit like he's the mayor and he walks in the door, and I know he's kind of assisting, but I mean.
Yeah, so of course there's a lot of people that want to talk to him about everything, you know, from things that he has nothing to do with to things that he actually has some control over. And so that is everywhere we go, not just at church, but grocery store, the mall, Walgreens. So
Right.
because you carry that title and that position with you wherever you go, so people will see you and say, hey, I want to talk to you about XYZ. And so we'll stop and he'll visit with them for a short time about whatever
Right.
question or item that they want to talk about. In most cases, people are saying, you're doing a great job, Mayor. We're
Right.
so glad you're in office. We can see
Exactly.
the changes you're making.
Oh, I say that. A lot of my friends say that know John, that just, and I live in an area of Omaha because it's an SID I couldn't even vote for. It was frustrating, but yeah, he's just doing a great job, and we're excited about that.
Yeah, thank you. And again, it's that favorability and likability too, but also he makes sound decisions based on what's right for the city. And he's not really a political person per se, but he's going to always look at things for what's best for Omaha.
And in watching, seeing him jump rope with kids in North Omaha and go to a church saying in West Omaha, and he's just driving a fire truck one day, and I've seen him do all these interesting, fun things. He's, in my opinion, he's out in the public with the public,
Correct.
as opposed to other mayors that I've seen in the city who, for the most part, are behind a desk.
Right.
Okay, and they're making decisions, but they don't seem to be interacting with the public, and I'm excited about that. So
Yeah, so that's really different for this mayor, John, is that he cares about the people,
Right.
and he is the people's mayor in all sectors of the city, from the north to the south to the east to the west, and in the central part of Omaha as well. And so being a part of the community means that you participate where there are events and activities across the city. And so we go to a number of events. And you're right, he is pretty much everywhere.
I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I remember 10 to 12 years ago, I would have coffee with him, and I'd say, "You need to run for mayor. You need to run for mayor."
Yeah.
And I believe you're going to be mayor someday. And
I remember you saying that one day at your house.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what did you think at the time?
I knew that one day it would happen. I just didn't know when. And so I had always believed that he would be mayor at some point, and that he'd be the first African American mayor.
Right.
On top of that.
He's also the highest ranking elected official in the state of Nebraska ever as an African American. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Okay. So, and I just saw greatness in him early on.
Yeah.
And I know you guys came to our house a couple times, and we prayed over you all when you were running for Congress and other things he was involved in. But yeah, I knew way down deep. It's kind of that discernment thing. I just knew that someday, and he wasn't always, when I would meet with him, lots of times we met at Scooters in the Old Market, frequently met down there. I don't know why, he picked that place. But anyway, he would say, not ready yet, not ready yet, not ready yet. But I was happy when he got ready. And
Yeah,
the
because we
timing
had
was
to wait on
perfect.
God's timing.
Oh yeah, that's really important too, because it's very easy to get ahead of God,
Right.
and get behind God. Do you remember a time in your life or your married life with him where you maybe did one of the two, got ahead of God or got behind God?
Generally, before any major decision, we always pray first, whether it's a house, a car, running for office, or whatever that may be. And then we wait to hear from the Lord before we step out, because we know it's important to be in his perfect will as opposed to the permissive will.
Right.
And so I can't really think of a time where we got ahead of the Lord, because I know that's something we intentionally do whenever we're faced with a major decision.
What's your biggest challenge as the First Lady of Omaha?
That's a good question. Number one, I really enjoy the role of First Lady of Omaha. I absolutely love it. I enjoy the opportunity to go out and speak to various segments of our city and have a chance to interact with the young girls, the high school girls, and even women. So that it means a lot to me, because I spent a lot of my career developing women and mentoring young people. With regard to challenges, I would say the biggest challenge would be there are some events that he has that I don't have an opportunity to go to. And so for me, the challenge is I want to be there.
I want to be there, yeah.
But it may not be, for whatever reason, an opportunity for me to attend. So my challenge is accepting that when those occasions happen, and that's just the way it is. So for me, that's a challenge, because I'm an extrovert. I like being in the public. I like speaking to the public. I like having television interviews and what have you. but I enjoy that people contact. And so I want to continue doing that throughout his term as mayor and my role as first lady.
You mentioned television interviews. John Nicey sat right in that chair a few weeks ago, and I interviewed him, and he was like, "This is different for me. I'm being interviewed, you know." So,
Right,
yeah,
right, right. He's
so
used to being on the other end.
right for a long a year. So, biggest challenge. What's the biggest inspiration? What's your biggest takeaway?
My biggest inspiration and takeaway is really having the opportunity to make an impact in growing our city, growing our businesses coming into the city, helping our small businesses, helping to expand affordable housing, creating high-paying jobs for individuals that live here, and then helping to really transform transportation in Omaha. So to me, that's exciting to be able to help grow our city in those ways. And then on top of that, looking at ways to really enhance the reputation of Omaha. And that's something that we're taking a close look at because we know some cities see Omaha as a flyover city,
Right.
and we don't want that to be
Right.
the case. Omaha has so much to offer, and it is a great city. We want to continue making it an even greater city, but also looking at a way to really enhance that image and reputation of the city.
I think some of that's going to change. I don't know how much when the airport becomes an international airport. I know
Right.
that's in the works. So,
It is in the works.
yeah, it's in the works, and Mutual of Omaha is building downtown, and just a lot of, even there's others. I drive around, I see other construction going on. I know the rail things going in, all sorts of things are going in. There's a lot of actually stuff that impedes our progress right now downtown, but it'll get better and it'll be
It will,
delightful.
and what happens is when you have that development happening, it can be inconvenient for people to get to their destination instead of going straight to it. Now you have to perhaps meander or go around the block to get to where you're going. You can still get there. It just takes a little more time.
Right.
And so we want people to continue to patronize those businesses on that streetcar route because they need our business, and take that few extra minutes to still patronize them because it's worth it.
You know, I just had a thought because I know one thing that comes here is the College World Series. I'd like to see John throwing out the first pitch at one of those. Do you think we can work to have that accomplished?
I don't know. We'll have to see if we can make that happen. That would be fun.
Wouldn't that be fun? So, in your life, what's coming up? Besides being the first lady, what are you working on? What are you aspiring towards? What are you dreaming
I'm
about?
getting ready to do a book signing tour
I
locally.
almost asked you, are you going to write a book or are you in the midst of writing a book?
Actually, I've written a book and I'm republishing it, and I will be doing some book signings to promote the book being republished. And I also have a second book that's in the works, and I have the first draft written, and it's really about John's rise to this position as mayor of Omaha, plus more. And so I'm working on refining that book and with his input as well. So those are two projects that are underway.
So we've kind of touched on it before, but I want to go back to something. So John's career is rising, and your career is rising, and you're both having transitions, which is what this show is about, directional changes and transitions and stuff. How do you guys, and you've brought in the spiritual component, bringing the practical component too. How do those interplay with each other, and how do you support each other, and how do you encourage each other, and can you share a little personal stuff about you and John?
Yeah, so
Do these things?
one of the things we do is we're very supportive of each other's endeavors. And so if I have an event that I'm speaking at or a conference that I'm speaking at, he'll come to that as well. If he's speaking at a conference, I'll go to that. We make sure that we make time to do those things. I will review my commentary with him, and he'll say, okay, you should change this or add this. If he has a big event coming up, even though he has a speech writer, he'll let me see what those words are as well. He's a very good speaker with or without a script. And so one of the things we do is try to give input about what should be said at a particular event that we might be speaking at, because we get a lot of speaking engagement opportunities. And so we provide that feedback and support for each other. Another thing that we do is we pray about that event together in terms of whatever that event might be. It could be a conference, it could be a workshop, it could be speaking at a business, but we do take time to pray with each other and for each other before those major things happen. And then we involve our kids in that as well, because we want them to continue to have a strong prayer life.
Right.
And keeping the Lord at the forefront of what they do. The other thing we do to support each other is take an interest in the extracurricular things. For example, he's a Steelers fan, So I'll watch the Steelers football game like last night when they
That's last
lost.
night, yeah. We were at an event at Eagles Nest. My plan was to watch the game. But Eagles Nest in North Omaha had a 30th year anniversary worship night, so we went to that. So
Oh,
so I
okay.
skipped the Steelers game. So
Well, they
they
lost.
lost anyway. Yeah.
And
I don't know
so
what happened in the fourth quarter. I saw that, and then all of a sudden the fourth quarter
the other
exploded.
team just kept getting touchdowns and the Steelers didn't. And so, so I'll make sure that I sit down and watch the Steelers game with him. And sometimes what he'll do is sit down and watch the Hallmark Channel with me because I like the Hallmark Channel, because I like the concept of the happy stories
Sure.
about
They all end the
life.
same, but they're all happy. So.
Right.
Exactly. If
so-
only the Steelers could be on the Hallmark Channel, right? Wouldn't that be great?
You
So
know, they have other football teams on the Hallmark Channel. Who knows? Maybe they
yeah.
could get the Steelers on
we have
there.
less than a minute. Thanks for being on the show.
I'm glad to be here, Jay.
We have, real quick, you talk about prayer, what's your favorite Bible verse? Do you have one?
Yes, Romans 8:28. All things work together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. And so that's something I live by every single day. And that's something that I incorporate into my life and into the activities that I'm involved in, because I know that the Lord has a way of working things out, no matter what that is, for our good.
And we literally are out of time, but I am going to ask one last question. If somebody wanted to contact you, do you have an email or something, a way that they can
Yeah,
connect
you
with
know,
you?
you can still
Want to
contact
ask you to be
me.
a speaker or something?
Yeah, my email is vewing2012@gmail.com.
Okay, we'll run that on the bottom of the screen. So thanks so much for being on the show. God
Thank
bless
you,
you.
Jay. God bless you too.
Thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you next time on Directions. Bye-bye.